Good evening and welcome to another episode of Americana. I'm Willie Montague.
And I'm Shakia Hinton.
Tonight isn't about talking points, it's about truth, because while headlines change every hour, the consequences of leadership last for generations. The choices being made right now in government, in culture, and in our communities aren't abstract. They shape how we live, what we believe, and what kind of country our children inherit. So tonight, we slow down because this is Valentine's Eve, so we're going to take it a little slow. we slow down, break it apart, and ask the questions that actually matter to you. So buckle up, you guys. You already know this is Americana. Everyone, this is Friday. I forgot to mention that in the beginning.
It is.
And so let's talk about the DHS, what I was about to say, shutdown, immigration policy, Gallup to stop tracking presidential ratings, the resistance reawakening, opposition against Trump is regaining momentum, and to bring it all home today, special election in North Florida. Y'all know a lot be happening in Florida.
Ooh, Lord.
So a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security is looming. I'm tired of these shutdowns. As Congress remains locked in a bitter fight over demands to rein in ICE. Democrats are pushing for new limits and oversight following controversial enforcement incidents, while Republicans argue national security funding shouldn't be used as a bargaining chip. With no deal in sight, the standoff raises a bigger question. Are lawmakers negotiating policy or playing politics? Y'all, you know, I don't know what to say.
Every other month we are faced with a shutdown of some sort or a threat of a shutdown. I have never seen these many shutdowns in all my day.
No.
Obviously.
You know, and what's interesting, people don't realize, this doesn't just impact those who are like ICE officers. You know, there's people that work in administrative, the office, the thing. And I'm like, do we have to go through this almost every single month because we just have a bunch of elected officials that just don't know how to not make things like it's kindergarten?
I don't think I've ever known an administration to fight over funding for ICE. I think this is the first time in history we've probably seen this type of jolting back and forth about funding, you know, regarding this department, but rightfully so, given how they've been handling the whole immigration, deportation, and all the things right now. And so I don't think the government should be shut down, but I do think funds should be withheld only to that department until there is a reawakening within that entire department altogether.
No, I can agree with that. I would say that, and I will agree with that solely because we need to make sure that when we are giving funds, that we're giving funds to do what an agency is assigned to do.
Correct.
Nothing less, nothing more.
So speaking of that, though, I don't mean to cut you off. It just made me think about during Trump's campaign, he campaigned on the basis of removing violent criminals, you know, who are illegals in this country. But what we're seeing is it's not just focused on violent criminals anymore. It's really anyone who is other than American. And not I can't even say that because we've had some Americans who have been detained. So what do you think is the focus now for this administration when it comes to immigration?
I'm gonna say this boldly. I think the focus needs to be back to who holds the constitutional power to do what, when, and why. Because the American people are asking those questions and they want to know if I'm seeing ICE in my neighborhood, who is responsible for ICE being here? Is this my municipalities? Is this my state? Is this my federal government? Who authorized them to be here? And who's in a charge to rein them in, as we're seeing right now in Congress? Because now, after all these things have taken place with having murders that have taken place over the last couple of months, now is, okay, we need to rein in ICE. And this is not just coming from Democrats. This is both parties are saying there needs to be a better solution than what's going forward. The issue with this is who is the one that pushed the red button to say this was okay to do in the beginning?
But wouldn't that lie in the hands of not DOJ, but what's her name? Kristi Noem? Wouldn't that lie with her?
Yeah.
Like the buck would stop with her. So
Right.
if she's not the one who is responsible for the hiring, who is? Like who within that department is in charge of the recruiting? Who's in charge of the clearance? You know, because it's top level clearance, right? And then who's in charge of like overseeing what their matriculation within this entire department looks like? I don't think there's any hierarchy when it comes to that. They're just looking at people. Yeah. If you want to fight, you want to get this $2,500 bonus. I don't know how much it is, but it's like there's an incentive for people to join the force.
Now I done said now it got a few little dollars. I don't know. But I would say that with this, I believe that with any of the cabinets we've seen in any presidential campaign or presidential, that's in office, is that they are just the face. Kristi Noem is simply the face and that's why it seems like they can never answer the questions of why or what, because they're not the actual ones that know really what's going on the grounds. And it's not until it causes, as I like to say, mass hysteria and media hysteria where they're like, okay, now we have to answer the American people.
Now, would you define that as incompetent?
Now, Shakia, we've been going good all week. I would just say,
I was just asking.
I would just say that it is, I would say it is a lack of having the ability to do a job to the fullness, because you're not, some of these individuals who were put in these positions, they came from a place where it was just them and their party representing that particular area, like Kristi Noem, South Carolina, right? What's South Carolina?
Was it
No, one of the Dakotas, right?
South
Dakota. And so with that, I mean, come on, it's South Dakota. And so it'd be the same with North Dakota, which both of them are very ruby red places, and you go there, it's family oriented. So when you have certain people like that, they're not used to kickback. And so it would be the same way as Sarah Palin was the one that had this position.
Child, do you remember the era of Sarah Palin? Oh, you just brought up memories.
So if that would be the same way, not saying that she's not competent, but saying that sometimes, just like somebody said this about, what's her name that is in there, AG Pam Bondi. Sometimes people get over in and over their heads, and I think that some of these cabinet members.
So what you're trying to say, you're trying to be politically correct, and I really, admire you for that today, usually because you're not. But I will say it is a level of incompetence where you are not able to fulfill the entirety of your job duties, but you are there based off of other qualities and qualifications. And in this case, it seems to be skin complexion.
Well, Lisa was skin. I thought you were going to say she was the original hot tour girl. Ooh. But we're going to move on. Anyway, after 88 years, Gallup has decided to stop tracking presidential approval. It's Valentine's Day, y'all.
Oh my God.
Coming up, boy. After 88 years, Gallup has decided to stop tracking presidential approval ratings after 88 years. I'm so
I
sorry.
cannot with you. I am trying to gather myself. Not hot tour. Okay, focus. So yes, Gallup has decided to stop doing presidential ratings. And I wonder why. Why do you think that is?
Well, this is interesting because during the 2020 or this past 2024 election, there were several national organizations that have been endorsing for years that did not endorse during the presidential campaign. And I think this is an example of where it's like, there are people that work in this that's probably on both sides. That's like the best thing for us to do is to just stay out of it. Because, they don't know if Trump going to pull something on them. Because at the end of the day, and I'm saying this as someone who have supported President Trump, so I want this to be clear, because I don't want no Republicans coming to me, is there is, and I have to say this to some of our boys sometimes, no one should feel that there is any level of intimidation or that there will be any retaliation because of who you are. That does not serve as someone who walks with strength and leadership when people fear what you're going to do to them. So I just want that to be said. Leaders just have to show up in a place and people move because they trust who you are, what you do, and the things that you stand on, not because of fear.
So the way my brain works is that I'm hearing what you're saying, right? and I'm going back in my repertoire
Jesus.
conversations that we've had in the past, and I am trying to put them side by side. And that is actually a different tone than what you typically have shared with me.
Yes,
And
different tones.
it is a different tone, and I'm going to applaud where you are today. I'm not going to bring up your past, but I am going to applaud
Because
that
the
type
Lord
of response.
has forgiven.
Yes, he has. But no, seriously, I would agree with you on that, because a leader doesn't have to throw around their weight. A leader walks into a room and the room respects who that person is, right? What we're seeing now with this administration is a lot of intimidation. And a lot of that intimidation comes with removing of funds, like to your point. So I don't know if Gallup is doing it because of the fear of retaliation, or because President Trump probably told them to stop doing it because his ratings have tanked tremendously. I think right now his ratings across the United States is like in the 30s, like 30%.
Yeah, I saw
or so.
that, I think 2 days ago, where it fell below the 40s.
Yes.
But I think with anything, I personally don't like endorsement stuff. I personally don't like rating stuff or pollings, because I believe that it puts people in a position to look at some other organization, company, whatever, to basically determine that this person is adequate for what they do. And I would say that for anybody. Like, I don't like polls. I don't like any of those things. I think that a lot of those things are ridiculous. Polls when it comes to candidates is what
Sure.
I mean. Yeah.
Well, I would slightly push back on you on that. And I say that if you think about, let's talk about a job, right? If you're applying for a job, the job is asking you for 3 references. Those references actually will determine what type of character you possess, your leadership skills, your soft skills, if you are truly a hireable candidate. So in regards to a poll like Gallup, it's actually a reference point for people to be like, oh, okay, well, I can trust what they're saying because they're reputable, or they have some type of leverage for me to be like, okay, well, if they're vouching for this person, then I can take this to the bank and cash it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So to a degree, polls are efficient. They do what you would want them to do, but it also gives you a broader picture as to the capabilities compared to other candidates, what they possess. But they will still continue with polling. They'll do the economy, I believe. They'll do global issues. They just won't poll presidents at this time, and it's coming to an end after 88 years.
88 long years.
That is crazy.
It is. It's very interesting with that. Well, I would say to that point, when it's like, you determine based off of like, okay, this is a job, these are your references, but be real, most of these references are people we know that's going to tell us.
Well, they give you a chance to do that. A personal one, a previous job or a boss or a friend. Like, so you can decide.
You can, and most I have not heard of anybody get.
Can I call your previous employer? Check this box. Yes or no?
And then most of them going to put, but they're going to tell you. You put the information, so you going to put up there. Like
what
Jim,
number to call?
Right, like hey, remember you were my manager.
Right.
Whatever like that.
Absolutely.
So, now to say we ain't blaming nobody out there. We know. All right, so after a quieter period following the election, signs suggest that anti-Trump resistance may be slowly rebuilding, from grassroots organizing and legal challenges to renewed activism and media campaigns. Supporters say it is Democratic engagement at work. Critics call it a permanent opposition movement that never accepted the outcome. The bigger question is whether this marks a healthy political counterbalance or the start of another cycle of division. So those who were quiet, the people who were quiet now are coming back to the forefront. So basically, I do feel that it's going to be another wave of division because we haven't even tapped into the true meat and potatoes of the midterms, because so many states are in the process of redrawing maps that we don't even know who's going to be. And that's even going to make it worse for a lot of people, because when they see the maps even going in favor of one party over the other, it's going to be like, they're trying to stop, black people from succeeding. Or, they're trying to cut out this. And I just feel like it's just going to just create more division.
I would say yes and. I'm good for a good yes and.
Yes.
Yes, I think it would provide some type of counterbalance, but it'll also cause division. I think it's healthy. I think it's needed because it shows that not everyone in the Republican Party are MAGA loyalists. They actually want to uphold the Constitution that they swore an oath to, or they really want to do right by the constituents that put them into office. And I think people are getting their bearings and actually allowing their balls to drop, excuse my figurative language. They're allowing things to really settle in for them, and they're seeing the bigger picture. This is bigger than Trump. This is not an authoritarian government. This is a democracy. So what does democracy really look like for my constituents who put me in this office? And so hopefully we have more Republicans, not necessarily going against the grain, but really standing up for what they believe and not being so blindly loyal to someone that could actually lead us into damnation.
All right. Now, you know what? We are going to see some pivotal changes.
We will.
However, I think that because of the progressiveness of some of the groups and for both, the progressive of some, that is what's going to be louder than these types of conversations.
What do you mean, the progressiveness? Are you saying the actions of those who are trying to push for certain laws, or are you talking about laws in particular that are going to be progressive?
I'm talking about the individuals who are like progressive ideologies, like like whether it's the progressiveness of Democrats or the far woke right. You know, like that is the division that we see at the forefront before we see anything behind closed doors. And then that's what detours people from wanting to even get involved. As we spoke about apathy, people, voter apathy is real. Some people just don't want to get out and be engaged any longer.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I know we got to talk about another topic soon, but that ties into this conversation very well. So I'll let you take it.
Well, yes. Well, speaking of that, let's scroll on through and get on this. This is moving. It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful Friday.
Valentine's Day Eve. Y'all guys out there, Willie J. Montague on Instagram.
Oh, he's single, ladies.
All right. Well, Congressman Neil Dunn will soon resign from Congress. This will make Republicans lose the majority in the House of Representatives from 218 to 217. This will now be a national race to watch, as this could shift the powers of government.
That's huge.
It is. Now, they're not doing a special thing. They're not doing a special election for this?
It will be a special election.
Oh, okay. He's resigning that quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say this. I'm familiar with Congressman Dunn, but I think that seat is pretty safe red.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it will be, unless it's somebody strong enough to come in.
People in the panhandle can be a little tricky because you have pockets of black communities or marginalized communities. But to your point, it is majority red. But even the red folks are starting to get frustrated with their own party, like we just talked about, right? So you may have Republicans who may vote for an independent. You may have Republicans vote for a Democrat or vice versa, but it's up for grabs right now. So until that seat gets filled, nothing will move. It would have to have J.D. Vance come in and do to break the tie of the vote, if there is a vote for anything. So that happens.
Well, he wouldn't even be the one for that, would he? Because he would be the one for Senate.
Oh no, he would be the one for Senate.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be
nothing would move.
Yeah, nothing would move.
It would be a gridlock. Oh God.
But you do have some more moderate Democrats sometimes that seem to move over, and then you do have
like
some
Fetterhoff.
Right, and then you have some Republicans that are more moderate that move over. Just like we had, what was it, 6?
Yep,
that
6
went again.
The other day.
So if those 6 side with we's in trouble. But with this is why sometimes I get people resign, and this is why I just don't understand why we wait till turbulent times to start seeing, unless there's an ailment, this illness or something going on with him. Why not just ride
the term out?
Ride it out. You should have been working to get someone to come up in your place, train them up, get them prepared, get them on the ground knocking doors, and then we wouldn't have the issue of like, oh, now we're going to lose a seat.
Yeah.
Because and now it's going to be less because also remember they're not going to do a special election for Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat.
Yep.
So that's why there's a loss there. But
why does Florida always? Why do we have to be the ones with the national attention? Like we just
that is.
It's always something with Floridians, and I don't know what this is, but I rebuke it. We got to get our stuff together. But truly, this race could really determine the balance of power for the entire nation. And so I am really curious to see who will come after him. If he has somebody in his camp already that he's been grooming and we just don't know. I probably shouldn't say grooming because that can be taken in a different context.
And excuse me, I'm in my head, I'm trying to remember the district number because then I can tell you. What's the district number? Do you remember?
Don't give me the line.
Y'all got it?
It's a single digit, I think.
What is it? It's not one.
But it's up in the panhandle. It's you know how Florida is like a 7.
Because I know you have
7.
2. Was it 2? Because
sounds about right.
I think I know who this is. Sorry, y'all. We have this
whole discussion.
But sorry. With that being said, I think I know the people and the people that I know or the person that I know. And God, I shouldn't even be saying this. But the person I know that is
don't say
pray
it.
For us.
Yeah. Don't say it.
Pray for us. We have to really start getting people prepared, and it cannot become a political. What would I say? A political favor. It's like, because I know you, I'm automatically, this was cut out for me.
Why are we seeing so many people resign from Congress in during this sector? Like, I've never.
One word, accountability.
You think he's running from accountability, or do you think he's tired of the theatrics?
I think he's tired. I think he's seen a lot, and I think a lot of people are like, how am I going to answer these questions over the next 3 years? And I think it's easier for people to get their pension and move on. So those that don't know, Congress, after you serve, I think it's 2 terms, 1, 3, 5 total years, you are eligible for a pension for the rest of your life.
Which is what Marjorie Taylor Greene did.
She did do that.
She did.
So I would say that, most of these people, like, Congressman Dunn, will get, a pension. He's been in there long enough, I believe. And
to do this ahead of the midterm election is months away, and things are about to ramp up soon. So it's interesting. Well, all eyes are going to be on Florida.
All eyes always on Florida. You had the man eating the people's face one time. That was in Florida.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Not Jeffrey Dahmer.
Who are we talking about? Somebody else was eating somebody else's face?
It was a man that was on bath salts. It was a black man that was on bath salts eating people's face on the street.
I remember that.
So you had that. You got we got all kinds of it'd be a lot happening in the state of Florida.
Mercy.
But he's the God of all flesh.
You equate this.
Well, no, I'm saying God is still. But never mind. Willie J. Montague for you guys to find me up there if y'all need a date. We'll go ahead.
Yes, he's dressed nice for you, ladies. He is ready for his date. Well, speaking of Black love and Black history, let's talk about Harry T. and Harriet V. Moore. Harry T. and Harriet V. Moore were Florida educators and pioneering civil rights activists who became the first martyrs of the movement after being killed by a Ku Klux Klan bombing of their home on Christmas night in 1951. They fought for voter registration, teacher pay equality, and justice for victims of racial violence. And they were actually Floridians.
So something good has come out.
Something good has come
Great
out.
People.
Yes. A lot of people don't know about them. And so there is a museum that gives tribute to them here in Florida. And so I encourage you all to do some research on Harry T. and Harriet V. Moore. There's a bill that's being passed, or hopefully that will be passing through legislation in Florida on their regards. But happy Love Day. Black love is a real thing. Be safe, be Black, be bold. I am Shakia Hinton.
And I'm Willie Montague.
We will see you all next week, same time, same place here on Afro TV. Have a good night.